What's up, guys? Welcome to Hendyamps Studios, and today we finally
answer the question, who is Walter?
That's right.
And what is all of this stuff that's been going on for a couple of years about?
Many of y'all have been asking questions like, who is Walter? Stop naming your songs Walter, and I've been responding. It will all make sense one day, and today is that day.
Yes, we hope, more or less.
So we're going to get to dive into each track and give a little bit of an overview of the story, kind of the creative process even that we kind of went through, and
just kind of whatever comes to mind. It'll be a little bit more free-flowing, unscripted.
We don't even know what's going to happen, to be honest, but it's going to be fun, and you will finally know who Walter is.
Yes.
Okay, so let's dive into Walter main theme, the first piece on the Walter record. Who is Walter?
Yeah, who is Walter? So we started with, it all started when we got a piano.
It all started with this daggone piano.
This huge piano that we love, and brought it in the studio, and early on, I think I just played a D minor chord, and we heard the resonance and just lost our minds. We're like, well, this is a thing. And so played a progression that was just kind of sitting in my head, and we're like, this needs to be recorded. What is this? And so this kind of story began to form in our minds about some dude named Walter. Mm-hmm. And Walter was, gosh, what would he be? You know what? What if centuries and centuries ago, like Babylon time,
what if he's
like
just this
immortal? He's an immortal guy. And what if his whole saga, what if we did reoccurring themes and ideas where his whole saga is centered around this guy who wakes up one day and realizes that he's an immortal. Yeah. He can't die. He doesn't know why. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows if it's a curse, if it's a blessing. We have no idea.
He has nobody else that he knows is like him.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, this has been done before in theater and everything else, but it's such an interesting idea because it brings up philosophical implications like, is it a blessing or a curse?
Right.
What is life like when you don't age but everyone else does? What does a family look like? What is it like? All of these things. Right. And so it kind of started us on this journey of Walter, where he's now called Walter in today's world.
Right.
He's had many
names.
Yeah.
But it started even as, like you said, it's been done before in cinema, in books, but we wanted to approach it as, what if we explore this simply from a musical side? Quite literally, scoring a film that doesn't even exist. You know, what does it even look like?
Yeah, we joke about that all the time. We are literally scoring a film that doesn't yet exist. Right. Hopefully one day it will exist, and that would be amazing. But this is the story of Walter's life, and
this is the beginning.
Yeah, and when we brought the cello in, Amy
it became his voice.
Yeah, it became his voice. So so the piano is his mood, his theme.
Right.
But the cello becomes his voice. Right. And we thought it was really, really important to just kind of flesh that out and explore it as much as we could. And finally
wrote a main theme for a character that became an album.
Yeah. So many new ideas for the future, but this is complete now.
This is the beginning of the Walter story.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Realization. Realization actually started with this melody that I had in my mind, and we brought it into the studio. We workshopped it a little bit, and then we brought Amy, our cellist, in.
Yeah, she had this idea for a heartbeat. Yeah. So, like, the idea is he should be dead.
Right.
Like
he's on this battlefield. Right. He's been slain somehow.
Yeah, and he should be dead, but he's not. His heart just keeps going. So when you hear the thump, that's his heartbeat, and it continues to the entire thing, even to the very end. And there's this kind of forlorn landscape that's being developed with the music, where you're not sure, is it hopeful? Is it depression? What is this? What is happening?
But he's also in that spot too, because he has no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
First of all, he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know if it's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, combination of both. What does this mean for him? It's this realization that maybe I don't know what's going on, but I do realize that my life from this moment on will never be the same.
Yeah.
It will never be the same.
Yeah. Like, what would that be like if you're just experiencing that? And man, the low cello guttural.
Oh gosh.
That's one of the lowest that we've done where you're just exploring a singular kind of movement with the one voice. And so we thought, man, this works so great for Walter's voice. That's kind of really what solidified in our brains.
Right.
That this is Walter's voice.
Right.
What is he saying right now?
We actually detune the cello sometimes to get that even lower, just like kind of a visceral.
Yeah. Amy's a saint.
Amy puts up with our craziness, but she had the idea for that heartbeat.
Yeah.
And it really transformed how the song is perceived and how it's it's received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So much fun.
So Crossroads.
Yeah.
This actually started out as not a Walter piece.
It was piano only, right?
It was piano only. And so I was just kind of moving through some movements up, down, trying to explore kind of an arcing motion, if you will. And somewhere along the road, we realized, wait, you did this in D, and this sure sounds like it belongs in the Walter universe.
Right.
And then we started asking the question of, okay, so what is this actually communicating in the Walter universe? And we realized, this is when you were going to be moving to Nashville.
That's right. I was at my own crossroads.
Right. And so you were like, I want to call the song Crossroads. And I said, good, because that's exactly what Walter's doing.
Right. Because he's just realized what's happening, and now he has to make a decision of, what am I going to do with my life?
Yeah, and it's an eternal decision that he has to make. It's one of those, like, it's just thousands of crossroads that he keeps entering into. Some he makes great choices, some he makes terrible choices, but it's always coming back to this. And this song also has our favorite symphonic swell of all time.
Which is so funny because it started out as a piano piece, which is why on the single version release of this, we released a piano version only, but it ended up having one of our favorite big moments on the entire record on it.
Yeah, like his voice is not in it. It's almost like you're imagining him just contemplating, because the piano is setting the mood.
Right.
And the swelling is inside of him, he's coming to that decision.
Right.
And it just linked up so perfectly, and we finally just realized, oh yeah, this is a Walter piece the whole time.
Well, the piano just loves to be in that D minor space, and it sets the mood for Walter so easily.
And this kind of sums up our whole writing process. We're like, oh, that's an interesting tune. I like that. What is that doing? Oh no, Walter grabbed it. Yep, it's his now.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So what is he saying? And
well, it's fun while we were recording these pieces, a lot of the time actively discussing the story and building the story while we record.
Yes. And so even down to the instrument movements themselves, the callbacks to other things, like it is all, a lot of it is, not all of it, but a lot of it is in the actual session as we're writing it.
Right.
Which makes it even more fun because we're discovering it just like everybody else.
Stream of consciousness, which just makes it really fun. But
Also makes for really long days when you screw up a lot.
Yes, it does. As we said before, Amy is a saint.
Yep.
And,
recurring theme.
Yeah, could not do that without her. But Crossroads was just a really fun piece.
It was really good.
Within every story, you have to have a good love story. And Genevieve is where the Walter universe and the love story intersect.
Yeah. That's the first person that he finally meets, and he could just be him. She just accepts him for who he is. She finds out it all. And it just turns out to be a lifespan or a lifetime of doing the right thing, being the person that you believe you should be, and someone seeing the best. Like, it's the best of times in a sense in Walter's lifespan. And we knew this was going to be a Walter piece from the beginning because we wanted to do like a string quartet.
Yeah.
You remember? And
it started with a picture of this like romantic ball at his estate where the two of them are dancing.
Which comes to be known as the Chateau.
Exactly. But it started off as this ballroom scene, and we were thinking, what would happen in this scene? I was like, well, a string quartet. What would a string quartet with only cellos feel like? Which is that never happens. But we didn't care. We wanted to do it.
And he's a saint.
And it turned into something that can really easily sit in the Walter universe, but stand on its own as something that's very unique.
Yes. Because
Genevieve is unique.
Yeah.
You know?
Very much so. And she's the one that sticks with him. Like, he never actually gets over her.
Right.
And it was the way it came together and kind of the whole flowing motion. You can kind of see the whole scene taking place.
Right.
It's really cool.
Right.
We love this one.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about You Must Not Do This, which is actually probably one of our favorite pieces on the track. It's smack dab in the middle of the record, so this is kind of the tipping point,
the centerpiece, the
for what's going to happen. Yeah. This is a moment he really never gets over.
Yeah, because Genevieve was like the thing.
Yeah,
that was the one thing that was holding them together. Yeah. And there was something that happened. Mm-hmm. There was
political
chaos.
Uprising.
There was some sort of chaos that was taking place. Political uprising, like you said, and she is like mortally wounded, and the whole world is crashing down for him at this point.
Right.
And it's like the longest one we did.
I think it's the longest. If it's not the longest, it's one of the longest songs on the record.
Right. And so it starts with the piano, but like very quickly that cello starts talking through it.
Right.
And what's interesting is that we said that the cello is kind of his voice.
Right.
But it also takes on her voice too, because she's the only one that really got Walter. She holds him together.
She understands him.
Right. So like later in the first portion of the song, you hear the two talking. She's pleading with him because ultimately she's saying, I know this happened. Yes, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
However, don't exact vengeance.
Yeah.
Don't go on this perennial rampage.
Right.
It'll destroy you.
Because she knows him so well that while she loves him, she knows what he's capable of in light of losing her.
Right.
You know?
And so that's the struggle. That's the whole struggle of the song is what do you do? Because you hear the moment that she dies.
Right.
The most uncomfortable.
It's the longest one-note hold, and it is just unapologetically there. It does not yield.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about this track is this is the first song on the record that we really intertwine other melodies from previous songs, and actually, the next song is actually referenced in this track as well.
It is.
And it's just kind of a holistic picture of who Walter is up to this point in the story.
Yeah, you're getting callbacks and future foreshadowing happening all the way through this, especially after the moment where she dies.
Right.
And he's just trying to deal with it, and her voice is still coming back as a memory arguing with him.
Right.
Not really arguing, pleading with him, because you hear those high soaring parts. And I guess the next track you figure out what his decision was.
That's right. We'll see what Walter decides to do. Well, by now, we know exactly the path that Walter chose, and unfortunately for all those around him, it did not end well.
No. And it takes a while.
This Day of Wrath is centuries long.
Yeah, like you're envisioning an immortal exacting vengeance on a lot of people at all different levels. And I mean, you can envision some just battle.
Right.
Some you can envision it's a long calculated takedown, if you will. And it's like, what is an immortal who's seeking vengeance and knows he's never going to die? What does that look like?
Scary.
I don't know. It sounds like a Day of Wrath.
Sounds like a Day of Wrath, but it's not necessarily him just going and killing everybody. It's It's his vengeance. Yeah, his vengeance could be not that. You know, it's
things,
lots of things.
Well, anyway, so this one was very much. This is the one where you came up with the.
It started as a piano line.
And so we kind of worked our way around that, and we also brought in, in fact, Amy was influential on this part, bringing in the Deus Irae, the Day of Wrath, the ancient chant.
Gregorian chant, Death March.
Right, and so that's actually kind of what influenced the name of this as well, because you can actually ask the question in this alternate universe, was the song Day of Wrath originally about Walter?
Right.
Did it influence Walter? Is he, like, in his mind, am I the hand of God against evil itself? I've tried all the other stuff. It didn't work. Maybe my role in this whole thing is to be God's sword.
You quite literally see his psyche starting to shift and fracture and break.
Yeah.
Because this loss has just left him hopeless.
Yeah, and hopeless to the point of you're not going to die, so it's not like it goes away.
Right.
It doesn't fade. And so good. So you'll have like some of the Walter theme coming through.
You hear Walter main theme come through specifically at the end.
Yep.
And during that build, before we get into the big drums, those war drums, you hear a callback to Walter main theme, because it's like, don't forget, who you are, but
Right.
at this point, he may have very well forgotten who he is.
Yeah, even at the very end, the crescendo, you hear Genevieve's voice still pleading as a memory, but he just,
Yeah.
he's
He
broken.
He can't stop at this point.
Yeah. In fact, he never actually gets over Genevieve, and
No.
he will continue to hear her voice
Right.
throughout the rest, and it'll be influential in the second to last song.
That's right. We'll have to stay tuned and see what happens.
Yeah. So, after Day of Wrath, it has been a couple hundred years or so.
It's been a long time.
It's been a bit. And he is trying to be so thorough with his vengeance that it has now come down to one last person.
As someone who is immortal does.
Exactly. this dude's got patience.
Yeah.
And the final person is actually an orphan that was like the only one left from this entire saga.
Right.
And he finds this orphan, his prey, in Scarborough Fair.
Shout out to those of you who have maybe commented or hinted at some things about this track.
Yeah, well done. Easter egg found.
Easter egg found.
And so he is going to finish vengeance, but he just can't do it.
Well, in this track, it's so cool because you hear Walter's voice, but you hear this other voice that doesn't really make sense for it to be an orphan child, and you realize that it's not the orphan child at all. It's Genevieve coming back with her final plea of, you must not do this.
Yeah,
do not finish this. You can't do this.
Yeah, you're starting to see, like, his mind is fractured, and so he is hearing her, he is seeing her, and that, like, what is an immortal who suddenly develops a pseudo mental illness?
Right.
Like, what does that look like? And so she's still pleading with him, and he finally says, well, look, I'm dead inside. I've exacted basically all the vengeance. This kid has no connection to any of this. He's just a product of my destruction.
Right.
And
He
so it's
chooses
like,
a different path.
maybe try a different path. And so that's what the orphan is. So he shepherds the orphan. The kid grows up, has a
Gives
family.
him a life.
Like gives him purpose, gives him something.
Right.
And goes off and finally lives his own life, and eventually, as an old man, the orphan comes back and
To find his father or his
Obviously.
adopted father completely unchanged.
right. So there's a confession involved in there.
Conversation had to be had.
but what's so interesting about it is we wanted to envision it as there's no judgment from the orphan. It's as he's old
grateful.
person. Yeah, like who understands, who has more wisdom, the immortal or the human who's at the end of his life and can reflect as an old person. Like, it's such an interesting, deep philosophical question because he never ages.
Right.
He
Walter
just endures.
never has to reckon with that side of himself.
Right. And so it's such a neat concept of what does this immortal who's realizing that there's just stuff I don't understand, I don't know. He's trying to give into this, but yet he will still endure even after he watches his adopted son die.
Correct.
You know, it's a tragic tale, but it's such a fascinating exploration that we're trying to do with the music, and thinking of the two cellos as his voice and that harmony is her voice,
her final plea.
Essentially, So
that's the orphan.
That's the orphan.
So let's talk about Chateau, which a place once filled with love and life and family, now just a ruin and filled with ghosts and faded memories.
Because the time period we're moving very close to modernity, like modern times.
Right.
And so it's just ruins. And so we actually found a place because we wrote didn't we write this one before?
This piece was written fairly early in the process of Walter.
It was. And
it started with the piano line.
Yeah, that's right. It started with the piano line, and it was such an eerie piano line. It reminded us of like a memory. And so we figured out that, oh gosh, Walter is visiting the place that he used to live. It was
with Genevieve.
Yeah. So this is the place. And so as you're listening to this song, you're hearing some of the coolest cello stuff ever, like those little ethereal weird noises and stuff. That was Amy just kind of making crazy noises that worked so well. And so you'll hear his voice and her voice through the cello, the top to bottom, like the harmony and the melody and so forth. And you can just like envision him walking through this ancient ruined castle and just seeing it all come together and seeing as it ebbs and flows and as he remembers, and then it comes back to the piano. And it's...
Well, you can also kind of feel and hear that ballroom scene call back to Genevieve in that track, where you can almost envision him walking through this ballroom, once beautiful and filled with guests, now just dilapidated and in ruin, and him just like wanting and wishing Genevieve was there with him. And all these cool cello parts floating around as these memories. Oh, remember that day, remember that day. And it's just a place that is not what it used to be.
Yeah, but she's still talking.
She's still talking. He never gets over her. Never gets it. It's almost like wherever he goes, she follows him. Whether it's on a battlefield, whether it's with an orphan boy, whether it's back to his home that he lived much of his life in, she is always there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Help Me Understand. And you might notice that this actually looks a little different than all the other ones that we've done in the past in this video. And that's actually because while this song is not last on the record, it was actually the last song that we completed for the record. So here we are.
Yeah, we screwed up.
Yes.
So yeah, this song is all about Walter, I guess, at some point, kind of modern time, like now time, he has figured out a way through his endeavors and everything else. He's figured out a way that he can actually give someone immortality, and it seems to be one of those things where it's kind of like a one-off. Like, I think I can get one person out of this, right? And so the girl that he's with right now, he really has kind of superimposed Genevieve onto him because he never really got over her
onto
and
her.
So he just. He has this one chance, like, you can be immortal with me. We can actually be together forever. Like, I don't have to be alone. And she's starting to figure out that she's actually not Genevieve.
she's like a placeholder.
She's a placeholder. And she's starting to sort out, like, this living forever thing is not really what I want. Like, I can't do this. And so what's interesting is we were actually going to have this be the first time that you have a violin in Walter. Like, it's the only other instrument other than piano and cello. And so we tried the violin, and it was like, oh crap, this isn't working sonically. It just wasn't the right.
I mean, Walter is such a unique sonic environment to work in because it's been crafted since main theme to be a certain way. And the idea of violin worked, but in practice, it just didn't translate the way we wanted it to, you know?
Yeah. So we said, okay, you know what? Really and truly, the story actually makes more sense if it's cello, if we're being honest with ourselves. And so the thought process is that the cello is actually her responding to him. That's why the cello is only in 2 spots. But then you'll notice that a cello harmony comes in at the end of the song with the melody. So the melody is her voice, the new girl's voice, who is not Genevieve, but Walter is so broken up about Genevieve. Even, he sees her. So he hears her voice. But then a second cello comes in as a harmony, and that's actually Genevieve's voice from like his mind or whatever else. We'll leave that open to interpretation, and it's the final no, I'm sorry. And you'll also notice that the piano goes in a crossroads halfway through because his first appeal is rejected by her. And so he's going through a crossroads of, okay, do I accept this? Is this okay? Can we, I don't know what to do. And then he tries one last time. It resolves into one last attempt and fails. And
with the plea of help me understand why you don't want this. Like, why do you not want to be with me? And she's like, you don't see me as me. You see me as someone else. And I'm not going to spend forever with someone who doesn't see me as who I actually am.
Well, never mind the no better way of saying it, but kind of existential threat of the idea of immortality. Like, if you are truly living forever, you're watching everyone around you die, all of your family, all your friends, for thousands of years, and it never stops.
Right.
What does that do to a psyche, to a soul? I mean, what did it do to Walter? Walter is the cautionary tale. So she knows everything about Walter. He's told her, and she's looking at that and going, you're a living cautionary tale. I'd rather just grow old gracefully and be done, you know?
Right, exactly. So. She's not interested, and he just can't accept it. It really is like the last rejection for Walter that sets him up for moving into life in eternity by himself, alone.
Yeah. So do future episodes of Walter turn into sci-fi?
With that,
since we're in modern day now?
With that guy's trauma and as much as he's gone through, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he'll show up in Dune.
Yes. Yes. Surprise.
Yeah.
But that's why this looks a little different, because we had some last minute pivots on this track, but I think ultimately where we arrived stays more true to the Walter universe and tells the story in a much better light.
I agree. It's just always learning as we're working, and that's part of the fun of it. I also like how it bleeds into the last track, the 1,000 years, kind of like, okay, right. So this is the future Walter.
Yeah. It takes the last rejection, the last final thing that is going to make him who he is for all eternity, and it bleeds right into that track. That's a really cool transition. I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Thousand years. We have reached
the end.
The end of the Walter story thus far.
Yeah. So this is current modern day.
Yes.
Like
post rejection.
Yes.
Of the love of his life.
Yes. And what's interesting is that he no longer hears Genevieve. He no longer sees her, because in his mind, she rejected him in the last one.
Right.
He never actually saw
this other girl.
He just saw Genevieve, and so he has been rejected by Genevieve finally and utterly. And so
which is an odd freedom for him. Like, the love of his life has rejected him, which is awful. But for him, it might bring a little bit of freedom, and I can finally move on.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
But it's called 1,000 years because it's this metaphor for the last 1,000 years, which has actually been more than that, a lot more than that. But it's looking into the next 1,000 years. At the end of the day, you're hearing two cellos.
Right.
The root cello is him. The second cello is now also him.
Right.
So the harmony cello is now him. It's not Genevieve. It is
because
it's
him. It's not a second part. It is a note for note harmony.
Yeah.
It's just him now.
Yeah. So going forward, I don't know. What does Walter do? Where does he go?
Walter Part 2?
Maybe.
We shall see.
Yeah, 1,000 years.
1,000 years. Well, that brings us to the end of our Walter journey. Thank you for being with us and listening. I hope that sheds some light on who Walter is. This whole time you've been waiting, and you finally get this big reveal. If you would like to learn even more about Walter, you can. There'll be a link somewhere around here. I'll put it. It's hendyamppstudios.com/Walter, where we actually have a complete story.
The whole thing, start to finish.
Story of who Walter is goes into way more detail than we were able to go in on this video, and hope you enjoy being able to learn more about who Walter is and dive into this world that for the past over a year we've been able to really enjoy and create. So we're excited about it.
And if you happen to know a person in the film industry who would be interested in making season one or even a movie or something about Walter, that's kind of honestly how we kind of envisioned it.
We are a score without a movie.
That's right.
So
we scored a movie without the movie or the story. I mean, we have the story, but we didn't do it without the script. So if you know someone, we'd love to get into contact with them, because we think that may be where Walter is headed eventually.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being with us,
Appreciate it.